For the best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Yes, indeed. We have the owner of that fine company with us, present, ready, willing, and more than able to answer any questions that you might have about the price of a car or a truck or an SUV that you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in. Just give us a call. 476-1007 is the magic phone number. 476-1007, and you will have the opportunity to talk with Iven Streckel. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Don, thanks so much. And again, we have a double format. We are on the radio, on AM Talk Radio, and also on FM 100.7 FM, 1370 AM Talk Radio. We're also broadcasting this for our TV subscribers and cable. We've got 3 channels out there that we're on. And if you are watching this on the TV right now, this is a call-in show. It's a Frontier Motor Show. And what we do is we call in and we give people values on their car. If you're watching this on TV, you might want to call the phone number at the bottom of your screen, and that would lead you right into the dealership's phone number, where we have 11 salespeople standing by with the same programs that I have here. And the programs that we use to get values, there's a couple of things that you can't get on the internet. One of them is the NADA value, and this is a little bit different than the NAD on the internet. They do have a consumer's version of this, but the one that I use is the ones that our banks and credit unions and a lot of our local insurance companies use. So this book does become important if you have a total loss, because if your car is totaled, you might want to make sure that you stop in a Frontier Motors to make sure that they're giving you the proper dollar amount for the vehicle. The other values that we use is the black wholesale guidebooks, and these are printed on a bi-monthly basis. This is a truck book that I'm holding on right now, and the car book's printed every week. The truck book is printed every other week, and it tells me what a vehicle is going for at the auction. So this is a pretty important book, because if I know what I can buy one for wholesale, I can add a profit on there. Let's say we're marking it up $1,000 or $2,000 hypothetically. Some vehicles you can mark up more, some you can't, depending on the competition. And the competition is very extreme in our area. I think the last time I counted, there were over 100 dealers just in the Pensacola area, new and used car dealerships. So you cannot get away with marking a car up an exorbitant amount of money like they used to be able to maybe 20 years ago, before the internet got involved and before you could shop with your fingertips. So what we do at Frontier Motors, we give advice on what to pay for a particular car, and also if you are selling a car, maybe what you should charge for that particular car. This becomes very important if you're going to use the Kelly Blue Book or the Edmunds, which is the one that you find online. So if you get online and you're using those books, what if those books are too high, or what if they're too low? And that's where we come in to give you an idea if those books are correct, if they're not. And sometimes they're right on. Sometimes all of the books are enmeshed. The Edmunds, the Kelly, and the NADA are very similar. But I've seen times where they've been up to $2,000 differentiation between the 3 books. So which one's correct? And why is it like that? Well, unfortunately, I don't have the answer to the why, but I do know that I can help you get you the exact values of the car by calling the show here. And the phone number is 476-007-107. That's 476-1007, and I can help you with the value. I have the books at my in my grasp right now. The other thing we can help you with is if you're buying a new car, I've got the new car cost guides. I just read my new edition of the Consumer's Reports, and on the last page, they have a program where you can buy the invoice of any new car for $14 and then get additional invoices for other makes and models for $12. So let's say you're looking at 10 different models. It could cost you $140 to get the invoices. Well, we subscribe these cost guides, and these are basically the invoice to the car. So if you're looking for a cost on a particular car, we can help you with that at Frontier Motors. And this might come in handy if you're going to buy a brand new car, and let's say that we can't talk you out of it. Let's say, and when I'm saying that we can't talk you out of it, that's not really our job. Our job is to educate you on the depreciation amount on a car that might be 6 months old, maybe 4 months old, maybe a year old, and see how much that depreciation is. And that's what I'm talking about, maybe talk you into taking a look at a 2013 used car. If you're looking at a 2013 brand new one, how much is a 2013 used car worth, and what are they going for? And that's what I come in and help you at Frontier Motors. Is I'm able to give you the information within a matter of minutes. And I'm the first one to tell you, if I can't save you any money, and I think there's a commercial on that, if I can't save you any money, you can't save any money unless you shop here. Well, I'm talking about, if I can't save you any money, I'm the first one to tell you, go buy the new car. That's what I would do. And let's say I've got a car that's got 3,000 miles on it, and it's the same price as a new one. Well, you're going to buy the new one. But I do enough of a research when I buy that car to make sure the depreciation is great enough where I can talk you in to buying that car that might be half a year old. And the normal rule of thumb savings on an average price car is somewhere between $4,000 to $5,000 for the first year of depreciation. So when the customer buys the car brand new and pays $25,000 for it, and let's say I buy that car with 3,000 miles on it at the auction, I'm able to buy that car for about $17,000 to $18,000. Therefore, I can pay the shipping, pay the expenses, put a markup on that car, still make a profit, sell it at $20,000, and save the person $5,000 over the price of a new one. Now, I've had customers sometimes come on the lot where they say, well, wait a minute, you've got this particular car, and I was at the new car dealership, and you're asking almost the same dollar amount as what they are brand new. And I've had this happen with a Ford Escape a couple of weeks ago. Well, guess what? We sold the person a Ford Escape. And he was right, because I priced the vehicle at the NADA book value, which was the retail price. But by the time I got to the bottom line, especially the fact that he had a nice trade-in, we were able to save that customer almost $5,000. Not off the list price, and that's where it got confusing. And he came in saying, well, wait a minute, it's almost the same price as a brand new one. Why would I buy a used one? I says, I agree with you. But let's do this. Let's not worry about the list price. Let's not worry about all the difference in fees and the difference in the appraisal value or the trade-in value. I'm just going to give you one figure, and then I want you to go and shop that one figure. So I circled the out-the-door figure. Now, folks, the out-the-door figure is after the trade-in, after the taxes, after the dock fee, after the county tax, after the state tax, and after the payoff. If you owe money on the car, we add that back in. And then I circle that because that's the dollar amount that you're going to have to finance. Or if you write a check for it, that's the dollar amount you're going to have to come up with and write a check for. And that's where the difference comes in at Frontier Motors versus the car that might be brand spanking new. Now, like I said before, I don't go out and buy a 2013 model car. And I'll give you an example. I've got a 2013 Honda Cross Tour, which is a Honda Accord with almost a station wagon back end on it. They're kind of cool because everybody knows how great a Honda Accord is, but they're limited space because it has a trunk. Well, this gives you almost a station wagon effect, but still looks a little bit sportier than a station wagon. I've got one with about 5,000 miles on that I know I can price about $7,000 less than a brand new one. And I'm just using that example not to dog on the local Honda dealer, because there are people that come in and say, I don't care how much you save me, I'm not buying a used car. I always kind of snicker at those people because they have more money than they need to do. They should donate that money and go ahead and buy the used car. If they've got an extra $7,000 they can spend. And the car I got, I'm going to look it up real quick. I think I've got 7,000 miles on that car. I might even have less than that. That's a 2013 Honda Cross Tour. And again, if you're going to buy a brand new Honda, the local dealership is Pensacola Honda right here on Highway 29. I would ask you to patronize our local dealership. The Cross Tour that we have is an EXL, which means it has leather and a sunroof and the power seat. I think it even got the heated seat package. It's got 7,100 miles on it. The car's got $34,000 window sticker. And I'm not saying you've got to pay window sticker, but let's say you get a couple $1,000 off. It's $32,000. We can sell the car for $26,900. And that's the type of savings that I'm talking about that you're able to expect when you come to a dealership that does the alternative to new, which would be selling a 2013, a 2012, maybe even a 2011 with really low miles on it. And that's what we try to do, is urge you to see how much we can save Heck, you could maybe put a kid to college if you took that $7,000 away and put it away for 4 or 5 years. You might have $14,000. I'm not sure what college education costs these days. I guess it might be more than $14,000 depending on where you go. Don, when's the last time you went to college?
1827.
Oh yeah, that's about right. I never got the opportunity. It was too expensive even back then.
I remember I got a scholarship from my church for $100 a semester, and it just about covered everything except my books.
Boy, that was way back, wasn't it?
Back in the early 60s. That was at PJC.
Early
now
60s.
PSC.
PSC. Why did they change the name anyways?
They're a 4-year college now.
Oh.
They're
That
no
makes
longer
sense.
just 2 years.
That makes sense. I can't get into my computers right now, Don. So I guess that's kind of good that we're not. I'm not putting the phone number out there because I don't need any phone calls because I don't have my computer set up, even though I have the NAD values. But the gist of the show, folks, is to let you know that if you're going to buy a car, no matter where it is, let's say you're going to decide to buy a brand new car or buy a pre-owned car at the new car dealership, whether it's in Car City or Navy Boulevard or anywhere you live. If you're watching this if you're listening to this on the radio, you can get this anywhere in the world, can't you, Don? For that matter.
On streaming, you absolutely can.
On streaming, all you have to do is...
we had an airline pilot from Japan that he flew from San Francisco to Japan.
And he
He used to
listened to the
text
show?
us from time to time.
That's pretty cool. So you can actually view this show, or what I should say when I say view. Actually, you can, because this show is going to be on YouTube. We take the show, and about maybe 4 days later, it'll be on YouTube already. But if you want to call the dealership to get a value on your car, well, we really specialize in making sure that you've got all the information to make the proper decision so you don't pay too much. Now, we do this without making you feel obligated that you should buy the car from us, and I think that's what sets us apart a lot from the competition, is that a lot of the dealers out there have one goal in mind when you walk into the dealership, and you almost get that feeling when you walk in, like they're not going to let you leave. They're not going to make it easy for you to get out. And some people are really sensitive to this. Some people, depending on their personality, they could care less about what the dealer thinks. But there's other people that walk in, and I've had this happen already, where a customer has told me, well, I stopped at the other dealership down the road, and that young gentleman was really nice, and he got me 8 sets of keys because I looked at 8 different cars, and I really feel obligated to go back and buy a car from him, or at least give him a shot at my business after they came to Frontier Motors. And I said, well, why do you feel obligated? Well, he made me feel obligated because he worked really hard. And you know what they did? On purpose, they had all the cars locked. And the reason to do this is because, depending on your personality and how much you care about the salesperson, which I'm not saying you shouldn't care, but they do this on purpose, so they make it look like they're working really hard because the poor salesman had to run back and forth 8 times to get the keys. Well, at Frontier Motors, the first thing you're going to find is that our cars are unlocked every morning. That way you don't have to feel obligated that you should buy something from us. And we really give you this information, with the information on what you should pay for a particular car, without making you feel obligated you have to buy it from us. So if you call up to Frontier Motors and say, hey, I got a car that is for sale at Joe Blow Motors down the road, and this is what it is, we don't even need you to give us their price. What we do is look it up. We have a program called AAX, which is our dealer track system, which gets me into all the different books and what the market value is right now at the auction. And if I put a minor to moderate markup on that car, what I can get you that car for. So if I can see that they're selling at the auction for $15,000, I can say, okay, wait a minute, the shipping's $300, the buyer's fee is $300, the auction fee is $400. I'm going to put in a couple $100 for miscellaneous, and in case I got to put a tire on it or fix something or make an extra key or whatever, I'm going to mark the car up, let's say $1,500 or $2,000, and then this is what the total is going to be. And you can use that information to make sure that that dealership that you're looking at buying that car from doesn't mark it up higher. And a lot of times they do. A lot of times a dealer will use that NADA book, or if they feel the Kelley Blue Book is even higher, they'll use the Kelley Blue Book instead of the NAD book, even though this is what the credit unions use and the banks in our area use. And let's say the book value on that car is $20,000. Well, they'll have that car marked to $20,000. And, just so you know, it's not illegal for a dealership to ask whatever they want. They could ask $25,000 for it if they thought they could get away with it. But if you call Frontier Motors and I tell you I can get you that car for $18,000, you use that information to get the dealer or the private individual to drop their price. All you have to do is tell them, hey, I can go to Frontier Motors, and if they don't have one in stock, they'll go buy me that car at the auction. There's about 25,000 cars at the auction on every given week just in our area alone. I'm not talking about Pensacola, but if you include the second largest auction in the world, which is Orlando, which I have a buyer there every Tuesday, and Tampa, there's actually 2 in Orlando, 1 in Tampa, there's 1 in Hattiesburg, there's 1 in New Orleans, there's 2 or 3 in Atlanta, Montgomery, Birmingham. If I take that area, plus Pensacola, if I take that area and I add up all those cars, comes out to between 20 to 25,000 cars. So I can pretty much rest assured that I will be able to replace that car that you're looking at. And if that dealer's asking 20,000, and I tell you not to pay any more between 17 and 18, and they won't come down to that price, you can come back to Frontier Motors, and I'll write a locate sheet, which means that I will go out and buy that car for you without making you sign a contract or without you give me any money, just your word and handshake that as long as the car passes your inspection, we've got a deal. So, and I did this with a car last week. About 2 weeks ago, one of my customers called up and said, hey, my kid, who does not live here, I think he lives in Atlanta, wants a BMW 535i. He wants a 2011 or a 2012. He wants white or gold with less than 35,000 miles on it. I called him back and I told him this car is going to run you. It's got a book value of about $43,000, and I can get you a car like that for about $38,000. He says, go get it. This was all over the phone. He never came in. On Saturday, he came in to look at his new BMW, his kid's new BMW. His kid's not here yet, he hasn't seen it. So he came in, and I bought the car at the Atlanta Auto Auction. It's interesting because he's from Atlanta, but I can't pick it up in Atlanta. I've got to ship it to Pensacola, and I can ship it back to Atlanta because we've got to do the safety check on it. We've got to make sure that everything's okay. Even the car is still under factory warranty. We still go through it and make sure that the buyer did his due diligence to make sure it's perfect. And
well, do you have some sort of liability there should you fail to do that? Or?
No, I really don't, but I want to make sure I don't get embarrassed on. When I buy the car, this is a good customer of ours, and he came. The funny thing is, I never saw the car.
So it's more of an ethical liability.
Yeah, it's an ethical liability. And I asked him to make sure that as long as I get the car and it passes his inspection, not my inspection, that we have a deal. I never even got to inspect it. Now, my guys did. We had to send out for detail, and they came back. Actually, we didn't even send it for detail. Came off the truck, and he happened to come in, and there it was. Still had the writing on the windows. They write down there the year and the miles and stuff like that. Still had the writing on it. He came back to me, and he says, man, that car looks good. I says, it does? I said, I got to go out and look at it. So I never even got to give it my eyes, even though my buyer looked at it. The auction inspects them, then my buyer inspects them, and then our setup department inspects them when they come to dealership. And then I look at the car, which I didn't get a chance to do, and then the buyer looks at it. So this time the buyer bypassed me, and the buyer actually came in. It wasn't even the buyer, it was the buyer's father. Came in, looked at the car, gave the thumbs up, took some pictures on his iPhone, sent to the kid. The kid gave the thumbs up, and he's going to be here on Tuesday to pick up his new BMW.
That's great.
So it's a really good story. Now, I'm getting into a kind of a long conversation on what it's like when the dealer doesn't have the car in stock, because I get this all the time. Customer comes on the lot, and this happened on Saturday. They look at 308 cars, which we had on Saturday on the lot, and they said, where are you going? Well, you don't have exactly what I want. And I give them the old, well, I can get you what I want. But he was at 10 different dealerships that day, and every dealer told him the same thing. Well, I can get you that car. The difference between Frontier Motors and the other dealers is the other dealer is really going to call you when they take one in trade. Well, the chances, and I'll use the BMW example, the chance of taking a white 535 or gold 535 BMW with the premium package, the sport package, and under factory warranty with no accidents, with good tires and both keys and all the issues are pretty darn slim. We get a little bit more aggressive at Frontier Motors. What we do is we go out and buy that car for you. And most car dealerships that have 300 cars on lot, they'll laugh at you. They'll laugh at the salesman when the salesman comes in, hey, Mr. Boss Man, I got a customer out here, and you got a silver BMW, but they want a gold one, and they want you to go buy them one. And they'll say, yeah, right. Go switch them to the one we got. That's what they're going to tell you. Tell them, hey, I'll drop the price $1,000 if he takes the wrong color. And sometimes a dealer can get away with that, where the customer says, for $1,000 less, I'll take the wrong color. But most people, when they're spending $38,000 on a car, they want the car that they want. And at that point, we can't switch them to a different car. And at Frontier Motors, we don't even try. We just tell you, if that's what you want, and you've saved your money, you worked hard, and that's the car you want, then that's the car I'm going to get you. Now, it might take me 2 weeks to find that car. People always ask me, well, how long does it take? Sometimes I can find the car in 2 days. I've had I think my record was about 9 months it took me to find a car. And that was the kind of customer that called up and said, hey, I'm not in a hurry. He was driving a Toyota Avalon. He wanted a new Avalon when the new body style came out in 2013. This was about in 2012. He says, hey, if you ever get one of those Pro White 13 model in, they change the body style, call me. So 9 months later, later, I pick up the phone, call the guy. He says, hey, I can't believe you remembered to call me. I didn't call him every week. I just remember him saying that if you get a 13 in, I'm not going to buy a new one. I know you can save me a bunch of money. And that's what happened. I saved him about $5,000 over the price of a new one. That leads me to also in the fact that we do have a 2013 Avalon. And I'll give you that example, folks, when we're talking about the Toyota store up the road here is Bob Tyler Toyota. And if you're going to buy a brand new Toyota, you go to Bob Tyler. They're right here on 29. Keep the money in Pensacola. And I've got a 2013, so if you're going to buy a new one, you buy from Bob Tyler. If you're going to buy a used one, you might want to shop in to see what he's got in a 13 used or a 13 new. And I'll show you my 13 Avalon XLS Premium. The Premium is the one with the upgraded leather, the sunroof, the backup camera. It's got 4,000 miles on it, and it's pearl white. It's $32,900, which is about $5,000 less than a brand new one. Again, another example of how much you can save on a car that only has 4,000 miles on. Well, this morning on the way to the radio show here, or the TV show based on the fact you're watching this on TV, I drove a 2013 Lexus RX 350 with 5,600 miles. So if you're going to buy a brand new one, the closest Lexus dealership is over Mobile. You go to Lexus or Mobile, you get a price, and I'm going to tell you that I can save you about $6,000 off the price of a brand new one. Now, every once in a while, I get the customer, and I had this happen the other day where a customer was looking at a Wrangler, and we had a price on an 11 Wrangler with pretty low miles. It was still in the factory warranty. And he said, well, for $6,500 more, actually $7,200 because you got the tax on the $6,500. For $7,200 more, I can buy a brand new one. And we're like, yeah, so that's what the whole thing's about, is us saving you that $7,200. Now, to some people, in this particular case, he didn't think $7,200. He thought $7,200 was not enough of a savings on a car that was 2 years old. And I'm thinking, that's a lot of money in my book, as long as the vehicle is what you want. And it seemed like it was. You wanted a Wrangler four-wheel drive automatic with power windows and door locks, and that's what we had. So now, let's assume that I didn't have the right color. And the next thing I would say, well, what if I saved you the $7,200 and I'll go buy you one in the right color? And most dealers wouldn't do this. Most dealers, matter of fact, he was looking at a black one. He really wanted a white one. So what I would say is, what if I get you a white one? Next thing I would do is, if you got a trade-in, let's appraise the trade. Because what if I buy the car for him, and he loves the price, he loves the vehicle, he throws me the keys for his vehicle, and I appraise it for $15,000, and he wants $20,000. Well, we better get that out of the way right off the bat. So I appraise the vehicle right off the bat, and let's get another thing right off the bat. Let's make sure that you know what the payments are going to be. I've had this happen already, where I located a car for a customer, and then the price was the price we discussed, but he never knew what the payments were. So when we told him the payments were $400 a month, he said, "Oh my goodness, I can't spend but more than $350." Well, so what we do is we overcome all those objections, and we get everything on the table before we buy you the car, so there's not going to be any surprises. Some people might have to get pre-approved. I had a customer on Saturday that said they wanted us to find them a particular vehicle, but they were a first-time buyer. They never had purchased a new car before. Well, the first thing I would tell them is go to either have us pre-approve you. We've got about, I think we're up to like 15 different lenders right now. So we can get you a pre-approved at a certain dollar amount. And what if you're looking at a $20,000 car, you're a first-time buyer, you never had a car loan, and the bank says the most we'll borrow you is $12,000. Wouldn't it be nice to know that? And this customer had been shopping all day long, but had never got themselves pre-approved. And if you don't have a cosigner and you don't have a down payment, you might have an issue if you've never had a car loan before, and especially if you've never had a credit card, never had any. Normally you're going to need a cosigner, or you need a bunch of money down, or something. So let's get you pre-approved just to make sure that you're on the right vehicle. Series, the 09 Dodge Laramie pickup truck, an 09 CRV, an 11 Tucson, and a 7, I can go on and on. No, I'm getting a day 4 right now. So that's about 20-some vehicles that we purchased within 3 days. I normally buy about 50 to 60 cars in 1 week, because we're selling 50 to 60 cars in 1 week. And that's why I always urge customers, if they're looking for something in particular, and if you happen to stop in a Frontier Motors, leave your name and number. If you don't want to leave your number, leave your email address, and we can send you pictures and communicate with you, because you could walk out of there and 2 days later I've got the perfect vehicle for you. And there are times where I've had customers, I don't want to give you my name and number, I don't want to bother. That's fine. Give me your email address, so that way I can contact you, especially if you really are looking for a particular vehicle. I don't know why you wouldn't, especially if it's a hard to find vehicle. And with having the ability to buy vehicles everywhere, Frontier Motors definitely is one that you would stop at. Chevy Impala. If you're going to buy one of the best cars on the road, I'm going to give a shout out to Pete Moore and Sandy Sansing. They have got the nicest midsize car they ever had, which is a 2014 Chevy Impala. And the business section of the News Journal has a big write-up on it, and I really love it. It's for the first time in 2 decades, a car built by Detroit's Big Three has bested the likes of Japan and Europe to win the top spot among all sedans from Consumers Reports. The 14 Impala, a completely revamped model that was previously a rental fleet mainstay, has bested the likes of Lexus and Jaguar for reliability and customer satisfaction. And the reason I throw Jaguar in there, people still think Jaguar is a bad car. It's not. It's actually a good car now. It has great reliability and phenomenal customer satisfaction with the vehicle. And you don't get phenomenal customer satisfaction unless the car is reliable. But the Impala is even better than those. So for those of you out there that are saying that the Japanese is the only way to go if you're going to buy a reliable car, check out some of the domestic products, folks. Things and times have changed. And that just happens to be one car. Ford has made great strides on some of their cars. Check out the Ford Fusion. If you can look at a Honda Accord or a Toyota Camry, check out the Malibu on a Chevrolet version and check out the Ford Fusion. If you're going to look at a Honda Fit or a Civic or a Corolla or a Sentra, check out the Ford Fiesta or check out the Ford Focus or check out the Chevy Spark. And some of these cars will wow you on the gas mileage they get and also their reliability and also that the way the vehicle drives. And it used to be the domestics could never build a decent small car. They were always the king of the luxury cars. Domestics always had great luxury cars, from the Buick, I remember the Riviera and the LeSabre, to the Chevrolet and Pontiac Bonneville. They always had great cars. Of course, Cadillacs always had really good cars. So they were pretty good at building a good luxury car, but they never could quite get it together. And the biggest issue they had was the motors. The motors in the domestic cars, I remember the Chevy Vega and the Chevette and all these cars, they were junk. I mean, they're just absolutely junky cars. People only bought them because they liked General Motors, not because the cars were good. But now they've got good cars. So if you're looking at import, the nice thing about being an independent dealer like Frontier Motors, we can show you all the cars. So it's almost like going to an auto show, because we have the imports. We've got the Honda and the Toyota and the Nissan right there. We've got the Mazda. Then we've got the domestics with the Ford and Chrysler and Dodge and Chevy. We've got them all lined up there, so you don't have to go from dealership to dealership to dealership. You got to meet all those salesmen. They're all going to try to stuff you in the car today. They're all going to want not to let you leave. Well, at Frontier Motors, you talk to one salesman, you can look at all the different cars, and we'll give you a price. I had a customer on Saturday. He found 8 cars they wanted. He ended up buying a Honda Civic, but he had 8 cars that I gave him prices on. One was a Volkswagen Passat, a Jetta. I mean, they were just all over the board, and he ended up buying a 2013 Honda Civic with 4,000 miles on it and traded his car. And by the way, here's an example of a customer gets buyer's remorse. He bought a 2013 Volkswagen Jetta 6-speed turbo diesel. He bought it, and he decided he didn't want it. It has 4,000 miles on it. I can save you $5,000, the price of new one. If you can buy a brand new Jetta diesel, you go to Pete Moore over on Navy Boulevard. If you want to look at a 13 with 5,000, well, I think it had 4,000 miles on it. I might even have 3,000 miles on it. You stop in a Frontier Motors, and I'm going to give you the alternative on the price and see how much we can save you. If you got a car and you just want to sell it, forget about buying something, put it on Craigslist, want to get scammed, don't do that. Go to Frontier Motors, we'll write you a check for the car. There's hardly a car that I won't put a buy bid on. If I can't use it, I've got buyers that can use it. So even if it's a beater type car with a heater, I can get you a buy bid for it. Of course, if it's a good car, I can buy it from you and just write you a check for it if I'm going to use it for the lot. We give free appraisals. Free history reports, folks. I had a customer today that traded in their car. It was a Chevy Tahoe. They want to trade in their car. Major accident. Didn't run a history report when he bought it. Only had it for 2 years. Never run the history report. We run history reports for nothing at Frontier Motors. The Carfax or the Auto Check. A lot of services for free, but the number one service that we provide is free advice if you're going to buy a car. Call Frontier Motors for that free advice so you don't pay too much. Frontier Motors, 436-8080. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Doing business the old-fashioned way, Frontier. We got the right price, Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.